Hey there, everybody. We're running open court once again from the Mandarin Oriental, Las Vegas. This is the GM's edition, although we're not calling it that because you don't all have the title general manager. We're calling it open court executives. See the difference?
Yeah.
It's completely different.
Nicely done. Nicely done.
Very nice. Yes. And we have assembled this distinguished panel, including from the world champion Golden State Warriors, Mr. Bob Myers. Andy Ellsberg comes to us from the Miami Heat. Donnie Nelson of the Dallas Mavericks, Dell Demps from the New Orleans Pelicans, and Daryl Morey from the Houston Rockets. All right, let's address the elephant in the room. That's this guy. Because you've got this team.
Sign up for this.
You've got this team that's gone to the finals 3 straight years. You've kept everybody together, and so now everybody else is kind of looking at this team and the team from the East, the Cleveland Cavaliers, not represented here, and trying to figure out where you are on your timeline and realistically where to go, moving forward, building for the future, etc. How do you assess it? How do you approach it?
Yeah, I think it's no different than it's ever been in history. There's always been super teams. You know, you go back to the Celtics of the 60s. They had, I think it was in '63, they had 9 Hall of Famers on the team. You go into the Lakers and Celtics teams in the 80s. You know, the Sixers in the 80s. You know, the Bulls teams in the 90s. San Antonio, Lakers, Miami. There's been super teams throughout history. There's been probably one decade when we didn't have super teams was the 70s. And we wound up after tape delay at the end of that decade. So at the end of the day, I'm not so sure the super teams is the worst thing. There's always a champion. And at the end of the day, your job is to find a way to beat the champion. And that's what our job is.
When Andy and I were locking horns a couple years back in the finals, if you get in, you got a chance, you know. Went down to L.A., where nobody picked us to beat Kobe and the guys, and we ended up winning there. Then went to Oklahoma City, and then when we locked up in the finals, we were just, man, we're happy we got, you know, game 1 and then game 2, and momentum's a very interesting thing. And once you get into the dance, literally anything can happen.
I think Golden State is just terrible for the league. So,
Break it up. Break it up.
Yeah, break it up.
Good idea.
Like,
There ought to be a law.
split it into Golden and Warriors, and then the rest of us will have a chance. So,
Yeah.
it's tough. You know, all our moves are, you know, we're basically obsessed with chasing the Warriors right now. Of course, we can't even beat the Spurs. So, you know, it's, you know, we're really focused on how do we take that next step. And a lot of teams who, you know, who aren't in the same spot are like building their powder to be ready when these guys hopefully fade a little bit. So
Yeah, I think you try to go into it. We've, you know, for 22 years, I've had the opportunity to work for, you know, Pat Riley and Mick Harrison, and I think every year we came into it, said, how do we put the best team together and have a chance to win? The goal is to compete. And I think you put together the best team you can, you know, they hope to compete. You never know what can happen down the road where someone else can get, you know, can get beat. You may meet up with that team, you put yourself in a preparation to meet that team, but you simply try to put together the best team you can. I think
you're in the East.
And I played with the East when we had Michael Jordan and the Bulls. And I remember everybody saying, hey, let's have 1 through 16 then.
That was a while ago.
Yes. I forgot about that.
Del, what's the calculus for you? I mean, you've got really good players.
Yeah.
But you're also, at least from the outside, it looks like you're still a ways away from competing for the conference championship.
Yeah, I mean, they set the bar really high, and but we embrace that challenge. And, you know, I know for our guys, you know, we have a lot of work to do, and we're going to try to do it a little differently. You know, it seems like the league's going small right now, and we don't know if we can beat people going small. And so we're going to try to beat people in a traditional way. You know, there's a number of teams that have committed to playing big, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to commit to playing big. You know, we got DeMarcus and Anthony, and you know, it's great seeing those 2 guys play together and find a gel. And then, you know, we just brought back Drew Holiday. So, you know, we're excited. You know, we know we have a lot of work to do, but we feel good about the direction we're going in.
And you're sitting watching all this going, what?
Yawning?
Yeah, can I tell you this? Can I tell you this story though? On draft day, you know, I'm pulling my hair out. You know, everybody's trying to make deals and everything, and so I call Bob up, and I can hear these balls bouncing in the background. I'm like, "What are you doing?" And I'm playing pickup basketball right now.
That's the key. That is the key.
And I'm like, "You're playing pickup basketball," and I can hear somebody in the background like, "Come on, Bob."
Yeah. That is the key. It's the bounce. Makes you think clearly and focus. No, I don't. I mean, look, I don't even like that I get it. It's in our narrative now. It's in our consciousness. Super team.
For the record, I didn't bring up.
I know you
super
didn't.
team.
I know, but it's there. It's fine. We didn't set out to create a super team. I think that's crazy. When we were 5 years ago, we were looking up at Miami, or the Lake or Spur, whoever, and we didn't. You don't quit. What can you do? You try to do it the best you can and compete and build, and every decision you make hopefully makes you incrementally better, whether it's 5%, 10. For us, it was, I inherited Steph Curry from when I showed up, but you draft Klay Thompson, you say, well, that makes us a little bit better. You make a trade, that makes it a little bit better. We got fortunate that Iguodala wanted to come on board. Now we're a little bit better. You grab a couple vets, you put yourself in a position in the draft, you get lucky and get a Draymond Green, and all these things, and then Durant was completely unexpected. Luckily, we got one without him, but yeah, it's not something that you sit there and necessarily plan for. Everybody sits in a position and says, wow, if we could get that free agent. Usually it doesn't happen. Whether it's good or bad, I don't know. I don't think any of us, I think all of us understand the decisions we make 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 3 years ago lead to now. The tiniest little, Andy and I talked about it when LeBron and Bosh came. It was because they drafted Wade and he was so good and won a championship. And he loved that culture so much, he went out and said to LeBron and Bosh, come on, man, this is a place to come. So the decision to draft Dwayne Wade was the pivotal decision. It wasn't just, and they did a great job clearing cap space and getting all those guys to buy in, but the decisions we make years prior lead to where we are today. So somebody's making decisions right now. They're going to be impactful in 3-4 years, and that person's going to be sitting here.
The year after we win the championship, that's when Dwayne has the opportunity to get an extension. It was the end of his third year. And all the players that year decided to take shorter deals to be free agents in the summer of 2010. And they told us they were going to take a shorter deal. I remember the moment. I was sitting at a gas station, and I called Pat on the phone, said, this is what's happening. And Pat said that day, we're going to have room in summer 2010. It's 2006. We've just won a championship. And we were looking at where we were going to be in the summer 2010. Now, we had Dwayne, who was still one of the best players in the world, so you had to put together a team to compete in that time. But the decisions we made were all based upon having the opportunity. It doesn't guarantee anything, but the opportunity to be able to go into the free agent market and have a chance to do something that's historic. So there has to be planning that you have to do. You have to look down the road. At the end of the day, we're charged with having to make a lot of those decisions on some harsh decisions about having to put yourself in that kind of position.
So Donnie, when you're putting together a roster, how many of those decisions are, we're going to try to be a little better this year, and how many of them in the back of your head are focused on 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the line?
They're both all the time. I mean, whether you're drafting for the future.
Sure.
But signing free agents, this is a perfect example, is flexibility in the, short term next year or 2 or 3 years down the line is absolutely a factor. And so you're always kind of measuring both of those things in every decision that you make.
You don't do that, Daryl, do you? You just...
No plan. It's like we're talking about all these little moments, and the reality is our game, the better teams beat the worst teams more than any other sport, football, baseball, hockey, and then we play 7 times. So the notion that these little things happen, no, like the best team, I think the top 4 seeds have made the conference finals, like at a 95% rate. So, I mean, we have the most deterministic sport. And that's why people talk about Golden State or talk about Miami when you guys had, the big 3. It's because, if you don't have one of these teams, you should be planning for the future. So, when we lost Yao Ming and Tracy McGrady, every move we did was about planning for hopefully the moment when we could pull off a trade. And we got very lucky that James Harden was available. But we could have gone forever trying to eke out 40, 45 wins. And that trade doesn't come along, and no one's talking about the Houston Rockets. So, we get fortunate.
In 2006, when we played, in the conference finals against Detroit, we had to win Game 6 at home or go back and win in Detroit a second time in a Game 7. Night before the game, Dwayne Wade gets sick to the point in time he's in IVs, and is really wiped out for Game 6. And here we are at home. Team's never made it to the next level, and if you don't have a chance, and God bless him, Jason Williams, White Chocolate, has the game of his life. 20 points, we win somewhat going away. If he doesn't have that game, we don't win, and we have to go back to Detroit. Obviously, the great players are great, Dwayne, Dirk, you know, in the championships with the big, you know, what Steph and Kevin, KD do. But those little moments are the difference.
Yeah.
But when you put two teams of great talent against each other, it is the little things, right? But to get there, it's not the little things to get there.
Right.
People say, how do you build a team? I thought, you know, my analogy is, you know, right now we dump a puzzle out and we're all trying to put it together. We first, I don't know how you guys do puzzles, you first want to find the corner pieces, right? It's like, let's find the left corner piece here. You need one of those guys, right? Yeah. And then you say, well, I got to have, who's the other corner guy? If you can get 4 of those guys, you can get 3, whatever. And then you fill the thing in. And filling the
Only
thing
you
in.
have 4.
Well, if you can get 4, it's good. Try to get 4.
Most of the teams are shooting for a try, or whatever, if they can help it. Yeah.
But it's you don't, I mean, look, the corner pieces, we all know who they are. Everybody wants them. It's our sport, like Daryl said, it's identifiable who these people are. It doesn't take a genius to scout, let's all go recruit this guy. He's a great NBA player. But as you fill in your team, it's important because a bad contract can really tie you up. A good contract is a piece to whether it's good on your team or it provides flexibility to make a deal. And that all goes in there. And then you never get the thing built entirely right. But I think that's what we're all trying to do, is figure that puzzle out. And sometimes you have to say, you know what, I'm going to stop right now and get back to it. I can't finish it right now. I know it's not done, but for me to just finish it, that piece doesn't fit there. As much as I want to put it there, it doesn't fit. And if you jam those pieces in, then you're screwed. Then you're stuck.
One thing I've noticed is everyone, fans, coaches, even GMs at times, they all want the puzzle to be done like July 8th. They're like, let's finish the puzzle. When you really need the puzzle done April 15th. Like, you don't need the puzzle done now. I mean, actually, I was talking to Coach D'Antoni today, and he's like, well, we got our 8, and then this guy will be the 10th guy, this guy will be the 11th guy. I'm like, we don't need the whole puzzle done now.
Yeah.
So.
It's really a never-ending puzzle at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It really
but it's
is.
fun. That's what, it's enjoyable. You know, it's what makes it enjoyable.
You know, for years I've been starting my puzzle from the middle, which may
that's why
explain
not
really more about me.
That's why you're not one of these
here instead of there.
chairs right here. Yeah.
We'll continue trying to solve the puzzle. I've done some planning as well. I've got a bunch more questions for our executives.